This is a spoof of the presidential address on the debt crisis, July 25th, 2011, and this is not meant to be taken offensively to anybody. I hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, seriously, thank you. Good evening. My fellow citizens, tonight I want to talk about the debate we've been having in Washington over the national debt. A debate that directly affects the lives of all Americans. For the last decade, we have spent more money than we take in. In the year 2000, or at the beginning of the third millennium, the government had a budget surplus. But instead of using it to pay off our debt, the money was spent on trillions of dollars in new tax cuts, while 2 wars and an expensive prescription drug program were simply added to our nation's credit card. Now, the important thing to keep in mind is that it is not my fault. As I have said countless times, it is GWB, or Little Bush, or Shrubs. No, of course. As anyone knows, God forbid, it should be mine. Now, because the Democratic Party is blameless for the decisions that led to this problem, Republicans have a special responsibility to solve it, but under my leadership. I won't bore you with the details of every plan or proposal, but basically, the debate has centered around 2 different approaches. The first, and by far best approach, says, let's live within our means by making serious, historic cuts in government spending. This, as I like to call it, is the real Obamacare. Let's cut domestic spending to the lowest level it's been since IKE was president. Let's cut defense spending at the Pentagon by hundreds of billions of dollars. Let's cut out the waste and fraud in healthcare and programs, and healthcare programs like Medicare. But at the same time, we will not cut Medicare or Medicaid programs for our senior citizens, except if they are Republican supporters. That is why I have instructed my Department of Justice to investigate who plans to vote for me next year. And if they don't, teleprompter's acting up. If supporters don't, well, they may not get their monthly Social Security check. The only reason this balanced approach isn't on its way to becoming law right now is because a significant number of extreme and radical members in the Congress are insisting on a plan different from my own. And because of this, everyone will lose out. That's not right. It's not fair. As the Backstreet Boys famously sung once upon a time, when I say I want it that way. Allow me to lip sync. Thank you, guys. They're on my side, of course. Now, we all want a government that lives within its means. But there are still things you all need to pay for as a country. Things like new roads and bridges, weather satellites and food inspection, services to veterans, and medical research. As well, and I think this is the most important, getting out the vote for me in 2012. Keep in mind that under my approach, 98% of Americans would see no tax increases at all. None. In fact, they might even get tax cuts, while Republican supporters, tax increases. What we're talking about under my approach is asking people, mainly Republicans, whose incomes have gone up the most over the last decade, mostly millionaires and billionaires, with the exception of myself and my family, to share in the sacrifice that everyone else has to make. You know, one of our nation's greatest presidents once said, "The fact that we are here today to debate raising America's debt limit is a sign of leadership failure. Leadership means that the buck stops here. Instead, Washington is shifting the burden of bad choices today onto the backs of our children and grandchildren. Americans deserve better. I therefore intend to oppose the effort to increase America's debt limit." That president was none other than Barack Hussein Obama, or myself. As a side note, my fellow citizens, many historians have already concluded that my presidency, although not yet finished, will rank among the top 10 and possibly the top 5 in American history. In the end, history is scattered with stories of those who held fast to rigid ideologies and refused to listen to those who disagree. Not at all like myself. But those are not the Americans we remember. We remember the Americans who put country above self and set personal grievances aside for the greater good. We remember the Americans who held this country together during its most difficult hours, like now, in order to form a more perfect union. In short, we will remember my leadership, my talent, my standing firm and planted in the ground like now. Damn, teleprompter. John, standing firm in the face of extreme rhetoric, or rhetoric, by the Boehner radicals. Finally, may God bless you and your families, myself, and may He bless the Democratic Party. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Spread the word. Peace.